I'm back again with another video, and welcome back to the channel. And for the newbies, don't hesitate to subscribe and turn on the notifications for you to get informed each and every time I upload a new video. Now that we've got that out of the way, we can get on with today's topic. When I first got into filmmaking and photography, I used to look at videos and photos that other professionals were putting out there, and their work used to look way better than mine, a little bit more cinematic than mine, and I was really puzzled why I wasn't able to get such kind of work out there. I even went to the level of copying their camera settings to the T. I even got into buying like a camera or a lens similar to the professional that I was looking up to, but his work or her work still looked better than mine. It still looked more cinematic than mine, and that fact used to puzzle me a lot because I wanted to do as good of a job as they did, but at the end of the day it just seemed beyond my reach. Over time, as I kept on using my cameras and using different equipments and all that, I came to the realization of what actually made their work look so different compared to mine, even if we used the same camera and the same lens and the same camera settings. And the secret was one tiny thing that very many people don't know about, and that is what we're going to be talking about today. So basically today I'm going to be talking about the different focal lengths that are most used by professionals and what it actually does to your videos and photos. I'm going to focus on 6 focal lengths that are mostly used by professionals. Please look at the videos that are on your screen, guess which focal length was used to shoot which video, and please write your answers down in the comments below, and hopefully I want to see who is going to guess this right. Hope you've written your answers down in the comments below. If you actually get 3 of these right, you know your lenses quite well. I have actually noticed a lot of videographers, especially music video directors, use one lens to shoot their project from start to finish, which is okay, it can work, but the disadvantage is that your work will look the same from start to finish. It will just be flat. It will not have the different dynamics that using different lenses brings to the table. My advice is try to expand your knowledge on what the different focal lengths do to your footage, how they make your footage look, and how they can upgrade your level of work. For example, when is the right time to use this focal length instead of this, and what it actually does to your footage, because it gives your footage a different look compared to using just one lens. Let me give you a very good example. Let's say you only have a 70mm lens, and that's the only lens that you've carried to go and shoot something, and you find yourself in a small room. We all know that 70mm focal length is a tight and compressed focal length, so it will be impossible for you to shoot in a small and tight room unless you've only gone there to shoot extreme close-up of small things. So which lens do you think is the best in a scenario of that sort? You will be forced to choose a focal length of at least 16 to 35 mm, which is wide enough to see more of the small space that you need to use. Scenario number 2. Let's say you're a wildlife photographer or a wildlife videographer. Trust me, you will never be able to go close to a lion or a leopard or a cheetah and take photos and videos of them. You will have to be far away from them, then zoom in to them and take the close-up photos that you want. The wisest focal length to use is a 70mm onwards, because you can at least zoom in but while still keeping your distance and staying safe. So I hope those 2 examples have given you a better perspective of what we are actually talking about. Let us now look at how these different focal lengths actually affect the look of your videos and photos. The first video was shot at 16mm, the second video was shot at 24mm, the third video was shot at 35mm, the fourth video was shot at 50mm, the fifth video was shot at 70mm, and the last video was shot at 100mm focal length. So you can see the difference between these different focal lengths and what it does to the footage. In this case, we want to compare the extreme ends of this focal length. I'm actually talking about the 16mm compared to the 100mm. The biggest difference that you can clearly see from these two clips is the distortion on my face. On the wide side, which is the 16mm, you can clearly see that my head is a little bit longer, a little bit skinnier, and more distorted. And if you like that, you can use that in your photos and videos. The lower the focal length number, like for example 16mm, the wider the field of view. That means the more the things you can see. When you use this focal length, which is the 16mm, on product photography, most of the time the client might not like these photos or videos because the shape of the product will have changed. They'll be a little bit more distorted and the lines in the product will most definitely look curved. When we go to this other side, which is using a longer focal length, like for example 100mm, it makes my head look wider and bigger. And when you do too much of that, it can also have a disadvantage because many clients, especially in the modeling industry, don't like that kind of look, making your head look big. So finding a neutral ground to work with is the best thing to do. The sweet spot, according to me, from my experience, lies between 70mm and 85mm. This sweet spot tends to look a little bit more realistic, and it kind of imitates what the eyes actually sees in real life. The focal length also affects how blurred your background is. Something else that is very important for you to consider is the lens compression that you get from these different focal lengths. Lens compression, from my definition, is basically how large and how close the background will appear behind the subject that you're shooting. Lens compression can really improve the look of your videos and photos stylistically. Let me let you in to a little secret. Let's say, for example, you start using the 100mm from today. Trust me, your photos are going to look more unique and you're going to distinguish yourself from many other videographers and photographers. Why? Because very few people own this kind of lenses and very few people use this kind of lens. Shooting things like real estate and architecture, it's wise for you to use a wide angle lens or a wider focal length like the 16mm. But it is also stylistic and it will also distinguish your work from the rest if you use a longer lens like the 100mm. But this will actually make you go a little bit further from the building itself for you to be able to capture it. When shooting people or human beings, it is wise for you to use a little bit of a tighter focal length, for example a 50mm, a 70mm, and 85mm, that will make the shape of their heads, the shape of their bodies look a little bit more realistic and more pleasing to the eye. But it is also nice for you to go the different direction. You can use a wide angle lens for you to introduce the environment that they're in, and this will distinguish your work from the rest. So you can see how to wisely use this information to up your game or to distinguish your work or to become unique in your photography and videography. These are the little tricks that Hollywood filmmakers and professional filmmakers and photographers use to get the different looks that you always see in those Hollywood movies and all those cinematic videos and achieve those nice, crispy and stylistic videos. Hopefully today's videos educated you a little bit more, and hopefully you're going to use this kind of information when picking and choosing the different focal lengths to use for your videography. And I would love to see your videography improve and do better for other people to enjoy them. So as usual, thank you for taking your time to watch my video, and hopefully it has helped you and given you a little bit more knowledge on videography and photography. And hopefully for the ones who have not subscribed, please subscribe and turn on the notification. And for the people who have already subscribed, do not forget to like, share and comment for more people to be able to engage with this good quality content. Thank you and see you next time.